Alright guys, I'm going to show y'all pretty quickly here how to turn a bibliography entry into a footnote. So here we have our bibliography. We built this together in the videos on how to create Turabian-style bibliography entries. We have a book with a single author, this Trimper-Longman book. We have something from a Bible dictionary. We have Emily Cheney's dictionary entry on Jadon in the New Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible. And we have a journal article here, Stanley E. Porter's The Argument of Romans 5 in the Journal of Biblical Literature from 1991. So we are going to take this and we are going to incorporate these into our paper. So what I've already done, I don't know about you, I don't always want to take the time to kill my momentum when I'm writing my paper and write out the full footnote while I'm working on it. So what I will do personally is I will just make a note of which author said it and what page they said it on. So as I'm going, I'm not worried about, is this the correct footnotes format? All I'm worried about is, have I given myself enough information that I can figure out where the quotation, the summary, or the paraphrase came from. So our very first citation here is from the Longman one. We can see the number 1 is cited all the way up here. And as I inserted that footnote, it automatically created this. So we're going to go down and we're going to grab our bibliography entry for Trimper-Longman. So I'm going to copy, and then up here under footnote 1, I am going to I'll select his name and I will paste without formatting. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to keep the font size. So I always know whenever I do that the very first thing I need to do is I need to find the title of the long thing, the book or the journal, and I need to make it italicized. And then with books, it is super easy to turn bibliography entries into footnotes. So what you do is you switch the first and the last name. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to cut Longman, get rid of that, add a space here, paste, so it's Trimper-Longman the third now. So we switch the first and the last name, then we change the periods to commas. So all of these places that I see a period, like right here, I'm just going to type a comma instead. Now there's a couple of exceptions. We also want to put the publication information into parentheses. And then we always have a comma. This would have been a period at the end of it. That needs to be a comma. And then the page number where the information came from, that is always included in your bibliography entry. And then a period at the end. And there is always a blank line in between footnotes. So we switch the first name and the last name. So that in footnotes, it is first name first. We change the periods to commas. And we put the publication information in parentheses. That is how you change a books with a single author bibliography entry into a footnote. We can see the same thing here. This is the copy of the page from Turabian, page 151. And in the in, so footnotes are located at the ones that say in. In is for note. The little number is the footnote number, which Google Docs automatically creates. We have the first name and then the last name and then a comma, the title of the book, the subtitle if it exists, publication information is in parentheses, and the page number is at the end. So you will see that this looks very similar to what we have here. Next, we're going to do the journal article. So down here, again, our journal article is this Stanley Porter. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. So I found Porter and I'm going to just, again, paste without formatting. The very first thing you need to do is, well, I like to make everything equal. Take the title of the big thing. So the book that this is bound in is the Journal of Biblical Literature. I'm going to take that and I'm going to make it italicized. Once again, we switch the first name and the last name. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to add Porter at the end here, and then I'm going to delete Porter from here. I'm going to separate my elements with a comma instead of a period. This one is a little different because there's a little question mark in there. If it hadn't been a question mark, if it had just been a period, we would change this to a comma. But because it was a question mark, we're actually just going to leave it as a question mark. And then with journal articles, the publication information is not the same. So we're going to come over here and we're going to take a peek at journal articles online. So this is going to be page 153. So the N for note, author's first and last names. We have that, author's first and last name. Then it is a comma and then the title of the article. Again, we have a comma and the title of the article. And then normally here, you would have a comma in there, but again, we've addressed that because our title of our journal article ends with punctuation. We don't do that this one time, but every other time, you need to change it to a comma. Then we have the title of the journal. That is in italics here. That's the same. And then again, we're at the note. We need the volume number, and then the NO, and then the issue number. So we have the volume number, the NO, the issue number. We have our publication date in parentheses. We have our publication date in parentheses. Then we have a colon, and then we have the specific page number we got this from. So this is the one thing that's different. We know, because we made a note earlier whenever we were writing, that we got this from page 670. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this with the page number we got our quotation from, or our paraphrase, or our summary. And then so I don't forget, I'm going to go ahead and delete the little page number there. Then after that, we have a comma. So we're going to replace this period with a comma, again, doing what we've always done. And then if we find an article online, we must include the online URL. So that's what they have here. And then that's what we have here. And then it always ends with a period. So we're just going to make sure that all that's there at the end is a single period. And that is how we turn a journal article bibliography entry into a footnote entry. Now we are going to go over how to turn the Bible Dictionary bibliography entry into the Bible Dictionary footnote. So here on the Bible Dictionary, we can see, like we said, Emily Cheney's right here. So I am going to do what we have been doing. I'm going to copy it. And then up here, I'm going to paste it without formatting. So this one is going to be a little bit different. Still, we don't want to forget the very first thing we do. We turn the big thing, the book that it comes from, back into italics. Now, the format where we get the way that we cite Bible dictionary entries is on these pages. And it is a single chapter in an edited book. I don't know if I talked about this specifically before with the Bible dictionaries whenever we were doing the bibliography citation, but essentially what we do, the reason we do Bible dictionaries this way is because we want to reflect who actually wrote the words that you are quoting, paraphrasing, or summarizing. So We know, for example, that Catherine Dube Sakenfeld is the one who edited the New Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible, and she is the one who is listed on the main editor's page. However, if we are citing something from the entry on Jadon, I'm sure that Catherine Dube Sakenfeld had something to do with that. Like, she probably, if she didn't read it, she was in charge of the people who were reading over it, but they aren't her words. They are Emily Cheney's words. So the way we treat it is though it's like each entry in these Bible dictionaries is like a different chapter, and each one is written by somebody different. So that's why we do it this way. Now, we are going to, again, use our same principles. Now, we have a lot more information there than is even here, but we can see the same principles apply, right? The first name and the last name get switched, commas get turned into periods, publication information for the book gets put in parentheses. All of this is the same as it was with the book with the single author. So we're going to apply those principles here. So we're going to say Emily R. Cheney. We're going to delete all of this. We're going to make sure that the elements are separated by commas and a single space. After Jadon, there's a period in here, but if we'll look at the single chapter in an edited book here, the title of the chapter is followed by a comma. So just like we would in most journal articles, we are going to change what's in parentheses. We're going to change that last piece of punctuation into a comma. Now, because it is a comma preceding the word in now instead of a period, the I does not need to be capitalized any longer. So we're going to make it lowercase, because letters that follow a period that's separating elements, those should always be capitalized, but commas, it's just like in a sentence. You don't randomly capitalize words in the middle of a sentence. So again, we're going to change our period to a comma. And then because the V is now following a comma and not a period, we're going to make it lowercase. Now for this instance, the whole entry on Jadon fits into the same page number. So we're going to leave it the same. And I just want to show some information here. So with the bibliography entry on single chapter in an edited book, which again we use for Bible dictionaries, the page range is kind of in the middle like it is with the journal article. But in a footnote, the page is moved until the end. So we are going to move this all the way to the end. And then just like in a book, we're going to end up deleting that comma now. And we're going to put our publication information in parentheses. Now let's refer back to here, and unlike in a journal article, the page number is separated with a comma. So we're going to change this period to a comma, and with the page number that we found it on, which is page 180, and then we're going to get rid of our little notes that we took on it. So that one was a little more in depth. Feel free to re-watch it, slow it down, pause when you need to, but that is how you change the bibliography entry for a Bible dictionary like article into a footnote referencing an article in a Bible dictionary or in a single chapter in an edited book. I do want to talk a little bit about subsequent citations. So this is the very first time that you cite any source in your paper. You need to have the full citation. For subsequent ones, as we talked about, you can either include the whole big long citation, or you can use what's called a shortened citation. So let's say that down here you cite Trimper Longman again. What you're going to do for the shortened citation is you are going to put the author's last name. You are going to give the title of the book, and this can be a shortened title of the book. Now his title is just 2 words long, so we're going to keep the whole thing. And then a comma, and then the page number, and you always end with a period. So this is a way that you can do shortened citations, and this will work for most anything. According to Turabian, you need to include enough information so that your reader can find what you are talking about. If you were to do another citation for Stanley Porter, okay, let's say you also want to reference something from page 671 by Stanley Porter. In that footnote, I'm going to insert the little footnote here. We're going to make sure it's good formatting. We're going to add some of this. We're going to do some little housekeeping. But we're going to say it's Stanley Porter. So we're going to say Porter. And then we're going to take a shortened version of this. So what you can do a lot of times is just take whatever comes before the subtitle. Or again, if you can do it in such a way just that it's super obvious. So we're going to put the little bit there, and then a comma, and then the page number we got it from, and of course end with a period. Now, if you have another citation that comes after this, let's say we have another citation right here, and this also came from Stanley Porter's article on the argument of Romans, but it was on page 673. You will put IBID period, comma, space, and then the page number from which this most recent citation comes from, and then of course always end with a period. So these are a couple of shortened citation options, and then for the one following, if it's immediately following and you're using the same one twice in a row, you can use Ibid. Now the one exception to Ibid when you cannot use it is when it would be the very first citation on a page. So if we had cited Stanley Porter as this number 4 here, if footnote 4 was Stanley Porter, we could not use Ibid because it's on the same page. Ibid cannot be the first citation on a page. Anyway, that's all that I have on footnotes for today. I hope that was helpful, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks. Bye.